Welcome everyone, Monday morning. Hope the weekend went well. And this morning, we are talking vision. We keep talking vision. Last week we went into this idea of what is the importance of vision? What does it take to be a visionary? And I think really concluded that we are all visionaries in our own right, even if it's a case of saying, well, I love Jasper saying, if you say, well, I want something better for my family. Well, you have a vision. And then we sort of, my suggestion, I think you were all here on Friday, maybe, except for Trevor Carty. So Trevor Carty, I'll let you go last, so you can play catch up with us a little bit. Because we had homework, and that was to picture yourself 3 years into the future. So do some future travel, get yourself into the future in 3 years' time. And I think 3 years was, when I thought about it, I thought 3 years actually is a good time period, because beyond that, it's almost impossible to see. But it gives you enough time in the future to say, okay, there's certain things that could be put in place in order to reach this particular place. And then to look around and to see and to hear, what is it that is happening around you? What are you doing? What are you experiencing in that place 3 years down the line? So when I did the exercise, I thought first of all about my immediate family, and I thought about but my husband and I had already decided, actually in lockdown, we said, okay, are we staying in this house for the foreseeable future, or are we moving? And we decided we love our home. There's no need for us to leave anytime soon. And so we've got at least a 10-year idea that we will stay in our current home. So we'll be in our home. My mom is a very, very healthy 80-year-old. So she will inevitably still be with us. So it'll be my husband, myself, and my mom living together in our home. And my oldest daughter, both of them have been single up until recently. So my oldest daughter has sort of started, she says she's chatting to someone. So when you're nearly 30, then you know that is something a little bit serious. And so there may be a son-in-law added into the equation. So that's what I'm putting myself into the three-year plan or 3-year idea of what will be happening around me, but I'm not sure about grandchildren. So the interesting thing about 3 years down the line for me is in February. So in February next year, 3 years on, I will be 60. And I think that's quite it feels like an auspicious year. So it was a good exercise to think what will be happening in my life when I'm 60. My youngest daughter almost certainly will be planning to go to the UK. She's made it clear. It's amazing what lockdown's done. It's kind of clarified what people really want. Well, certainly in our family, what do you want? And she's become clear she's a theatre person. And I think when theatre is in your blood, the West End calls. And so that's where she wants to go. And then I'm so excited about wisdoms. I cannot tell you, I am like on the edge of my seat because it just feels like years of thinking and planning, and it just feels like we're now hitting the ground running. And so I just see wisdoms pumping, and I just put these figures together, Trevor. I don't know if they're too small or too big, but I'm seeing in 3 years' time, 200 affiliates around the world and 300,000 subscribers. So we would be a third of our way to 1 million. Yes, I thought that's what Trevor would say. Yeah, so I think, and then there's some other work goals, but I don't want to go into all the details. And then I've just got a fun thing that I've thrown in that I would love to do. And I'm hoping, well, I'm seeing myself there, right? Future travel, I'm seeing myself there, that I will, in my 60th year, I will be walking the Great Ocean Walk in Australia with my sister. So that's me. So Jasper, what does your future travel look like?
Yeah, it's a challenge because when I was younger, every 5 years, you know, or when I was 30, I was a multimillionaire at 35 in my dreams, but it didn't happen. So I made it the next 5-year goal, and then came 40, I wasn't there. Then came 45, then came, so I'm still not at 65, where I thought I would be at 35. So it becomes more difficult to make these projections, knowing that you don't want to lie to yourself. You are more realistic about what is possible. But with that said, I have given myself a 5-year projection on my thinking, because at 65, I want to say, okay, where am I when I'm 70 and I look like Trevor? I, I just lost a friend there. So definitely on the co-op bank, we will have achieved the final stage of cooperative banking and being the first one in South Africa. And with a national presence, and probably starting to experiment with some outside affiliations, which is a bit more tricky. I see that we will have 100 subgroups or 100 micro banks that will help to make up a membership of at least 10,000 active members. With the community chamber, Trevor will probably also say I'm very conservative there, but I'm still looking at our first target of 1,000 members on the community chamber. Then the other entity, Gig Wealth, which is on the insurance side. I see us with a national team meeting, because Gig Wealth is mostly there to meet the financial services needs of the bank and the community chamber. So I see us there with a team of advisors in the different categories on a national basis, serving all the licenses that we have. In Eagle's Nest, I see us having a strategic partner that has helped us so that in 3 years' time, the rezoning will be completed. And then we will be ready to start building on the next phase. So in 5 years' time, it could be then a new lifestyle for me and Helen, with her being off the job of having to be 24/7 guest house owner. And we could, if the dream works out, could be living in a block of flats where we own a couple of flats for old age, or what do you call it, old age pension. And we ourselves live here, but we can lock up and go as we need to go. We're also involved with New Life, and I see us, it's not my main focus now, but because of the systems I put in place, I see us upgrade one level, which makes it more easier to travel more regularly on all the annual, and I believe travel will be back. So I see us travel at least once a year overseas with the company. Then I've got a couple of personal projects. And then on the family side, my son Henry and his wife and kids have all the visas in place. They just wait for the borders to open. Then they will relocate to Australia. So hopefully in 5 years' time, they will be settled and on their way to becoming productive and active citizens there. And then, yeah, my younger son hasn't had a girlfriend in ages, and almost similar to your daughter Lee there. 2 weeks ago, he met a lady, and he came in and visited us this weekend with the lady. So there might be something there. So it's about time. So who knows? I might have a marriage, another marriage in the family, and maybe another grandchild hopefully on the way. And then, yeah, that's about as far as I have looked at our lives. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesper. It's exciting to think about these possibilities. And so, yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Cecile, are you there? Are you able to share with us?
Yes, yeah. I'm busy with my 3-year plan at the moment. I'm packing up, and it's very interesting. I'm thinking to myself, as I'm packing this stuff, I think to myself, how different would it be? Because our house in J Bay, we've been there a few holidays. We've been there to. We just swapped houses with her, and then we were just staying there as a holiday people. How different would it be to have all our own possessions around us and working from there? When I designed the house, I did there is a study, because I did think, okay, one day I'll come and work there, and then I'll work from that study. But we'll have to see how distracting or how good it is. 3 years from now, I see myself possibly in the morning just working, checking in with my customers, checking in with my technicians, and in the afternoon do other things. I believe there's lots of stuff to do in J Bay to help in the community projects. So the community things that I like doing, we'll be doing those. And my husband likes playing golf, and my sister's there, and she's now playing golf as well. So maybe we'll play golf more often. We'll cycle more often. We'll definitely go for a good walk every day to the beach. So that view that you've got there, we probably will have a similar view. And please remind me every day to appreciate it, because the people that live at the beach tell you after a while you don't even see it anymore. But just remind me from time to time to appreciate it. So yeah, so with chit chat, I'll maintain my customers, and I'll have a close relationship with my technicians so that they can be me in Johannesburg. With my world, I intend to work hard at that, and at that time I will have possibly, let's say, 12 people that I will be working with closely, and that's the second. That will be a big income stream in 3 years' time. Anyway, all the clouds, and because we're listing on NASDAQ in November next year, so at that time I will have shares in the biggest loyalty program in the world, and yeah, and a lot of passive income will come there, but I will help and support my downline. Sports-wise, yes, I checked yesterday and I see there is a dojo. So my sensei asked me this week to teach, despite the fact that I'm doing my second-hand grading where you all hold thumbs on Saturday. Maybe I'll just volunteer and help teach there. But the one thing that I want to do again, definitely, and in 3 years' time I'll definitely be doing that, is dance. Dance twice a week. Just do Latin American dancing just for the fun of it. Because it is fun, but if one doesn't have time, then it just goes along the wayside. Children, family-wise, we are leaving our grandchildren behind in Johannesburg. But Ernest's dad just told us Sunday that he thinks if all goes well for us, he thinks that Ernest and Cindy will follow us in about 3 years' time, because Ernest would love to live at the sea as well. So we'll see how the pool goes, how much they miss us, how much fun they see we having there. So yeah, so those are my kind of personal plans for the next 3 years.
Oh, Cecile, You've painted a picture that I think we all want to follow. It just sounds so blissful. Very exciting. And it's something that I know you've thought about and planned, and you've put things in place. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that it doesn't feel unrealistic, because actually you saw the last frame, and that was Jeffreys Bay, and actually you're now just following the path that you had already envisaged some time ago. So, I mean, you really are an example. So thanks, Cecile. Edward, you're in a different place. So what does your 3-year future travel look like?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. When I was about 16, someone gave me a piece of advice that was very simple but profound, and I've applied it all my life. It said, read the question and answer it. So when I looked at your email about the homework, it said, where will you be in 6 months or 3 years' time? And fortunately, I chose the 3-year one to do, because you never mentioned 6 months this morning. And I only chose the 3-year one because I already had the answer. So I didn't have to do any homework. And I don't know whether I've mentioned it on here before, but in September, I'm planning on moving to the northeast of England, a little place called Walsingham. And as part of that process, I've envisioned what it's going to look like. So I already know. So in 3 years' time, I see myself running across the moors, coming back home, having a shower, having a cup of coffee in the garden, and then going inside to work. And then in the evening, I'll be cooking myself a supper made from vegetables grown in the garden. On days when I don't run, I'll be walking in the fields alongside the river and then into the woods. And on the way back, I'll be popping in the local pub for a beer and a chat, and then going back home again. And then in the winter, I'll be hunkering down in the nice sort of warm by the fire, reading and planning adventures. And then in the following year, I'll pop off and I'll do those adventures. And there's a few places I want to tick off. South America, there's a couple of places there, the Atacama Desert, the Moab Desert in America, the Pacific Crest Trail. Of course, coming back to South Africa, there's a run on the Wild Coast I want to do. So yeah, that's me. And I haven't included family in there because I don't know what they're going to be doing. That's not within my control. You know, I hope they'll be coming to see me. I'll hope they'll be coming to see me with children, with grandchildren, but I don't know, because that's their decision, that's their choice. So it's just that, and the reason why I want to move up to the north is because I want to experience greater clarity around the seasons. In Cornwall, you tend to have pretty bland sort of winters, and I want hard winters with snow and tough conditions on the moors. So I'm battling against the elements. So I really feel alive. And then when I come home, I can either sit in the pub and get nice and warm and cozy, or I can sit at home and get nice and warm and cozy. And one last thing, which is in 15 years' time, when I'm 81, I'm going to run the Kalahari Akrabi's Extreme Marathon one last time. And no, I haven't been to Victoria Falls, which someone asked in the chat.
Well, I can picture it with you, Edward. We all there with you, and I hope you've got a spare room, because I think, yeah, whether it's spring or winter, either of those sound very appealing. I must say, I did love, there was, I don't know who it was, but it was an ultra marathoner that was quoted. Somebody asked him, so why do you love running so much? And he said, it feels so good when I stop. And I feel like that when you describe this battling against the elements and then this cozying up either at your own fire or at the pub. That sounds amazing. Donovan, did you have an opportunity? And yes, Edward did say, I did say 6 months, but I sort of only put that in because I didn't want to give people too much of a, if I gave them an out, if they could only think up to 6 months. But if you've thought 6 months or 3 years, please let us know. What does your future travel look like?
Thanks, Lee. Morning, everyone. Yeah, mine included travel due to work requirements. Before COVID, we were actually planning to relocate. But, you know, things have changed totally. So in absence of COVID, Europe is one of the destinations. I'm thinking particularly about either Scotland or England. There could be some opportunities there on the construction side. Africa, we've done quite a bit of travel. I don't know if Israel falls within Africa. That's also one of our destinations. Although it's such a small country, years of history, I'm sure that's going to be an interesting visit. Looking forward to that as well. And Germany, I'm just curious in terms of my possible family heritage there. One of my nephews, he did a bit of research and he somehow to Germany. So I would just like to, you know, see it from yeah. So those are the nations on my short-term list. Thank you.
Thanks, Donovan. We just lost you the last little bit, but it definitely sounds like travel is on the horizon. Great, exciting places to go. As you say, South Africa is this gorgeous place. My husband and I, we walked. So you probably all know, I'm at the beach. I'm at Umhlanga Rocks. We walked from Umhlanga to just south of Umhloti, just all along the beach yesterday. It was about an 11K walk, 12 Ks. And it just is beautiful, 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 beautiful. I mean, it's the soft sand, the waves, the little rock pools, and it just was, you know, you're just so fortunate to live in a country where 6-7 hours drive away and it's right there. So, and of course the people, I don't know about the people, as you say, Cecile, you hope the people who live here take advantage of it because it really is exquisite. Trevor, now tell us what does your future travel look like?
I didn't do my homework, but what I did do was I simplified. In other words, everything that I was struggling with that had built up over this lockdown period, I was able to strip and finish stripping this weekend. And it was all with the cause in mind of helping Lee to achieve her vision, but not as slow as she's going to do. So I've been ramping up the engines here to make certain that we actually hit Lee's objective a lot quicker. See, I nearly choked on that. So, yes, I love that you have seen what we have seen and all the work that has been put together by yourself, Ivan, self coming together. But it all boils down to, I now believe, the simplify, keeps things simple. What are your priorities? 1, 2, 3. My wife and I, we were chatting about this. You know, we've worked hard to actually get to where we are. So the lifestyle is now about how do you maintain your lifestyle, reduce whatever costs you've got in the marketplace, and as much as you think you don't have costs, you have continuing costs. All of a sudden, I discovered how much a little high school episode costs for a little granddaughter that we've been working with. And public school goes from 47 odd grand for the year to, if you want to go to private school, it's close to 250 grand. So these are things that you've got to be looking at. And I don't know that you can take 3-year views. I love Cecile and what Cecile's family is doing right now. And I'm going to repeat, go to the top of that column. Don't go into overheads and premises. Take all of your students onto the beach. For goodness sake, you're into Karatika. You've got to be running up and down the beach all day. That's how you stay in tune with the beach, Cecile. Really, where are we going? We've done our things worldwide. So for us, there are a couple of little areas we want to go. Those we'll knock down. We're not frazzled about it. And I've found that the real driver here is when I listen to Lee and I listen to Jasper. I seem to have hitched myself to something of their helping them to achieve their particular visions. So I think what came out of this lockdown period, virtual trade fair.africa, virtual trade fair.global, our wisdoms operation are bigger than anyone actually knows, because it's based on such simplicity. And that's what we've got to keep our eyes focused on in the short, medium, and long term.
Thanks, Trevor. As I say, exciting, very, very exciting. I just, yeah, it's good to be on holiday, but it's also very exciting to know that when I get back from holiday, there's, this is all waiting, and it's wonderful to be in a place where work is as exciting as being on holiday. That's not a bad thing. Trevor, Kati, I hope you've got a feel for what we've been talking about. And so maybe you've already done the thinking, or maybe you can just wing it 3 years or 6 months down the line. What does it look like?
I am David Attenborough. And if you haven't seen his show called A Life on Our Planet, you really have to download it. And you have to just get to understand that he's in his 90s, and he just casts an eye back over his lifetime on how we screw things up and how we think we're in control, and how we make plans, and how planning for 6 months and 3 years is just, it's a waste of time. He is planning for 100 years, and he gave us solutions for 100 years. So let's just look at the next 6 months, because I got some time to go and spend in the Limpopo over the weekend. We were in Zanin, and we went there for business and to expand our business. I'm in education, and over the next 6 months, I see our education academies in financial services and in property and in agriculture really coming together, so that in 2021 we can make a significant difference to the youth of South Africa. And that's what we were doing in Zanin. We were chatting with the farmers about their farm people, and
Are you there, Trevor? You seem to have frozen, or is it just me?
Yep, he's frozen.
Okay. we have Trevor basically nothing happening. I was actually also just typing in the chat, so I might as well just say it while we wait for Trevor. That, you know, I always laugh at this when Edward said a little while ago, we make our plans and God laughs. And so I think it's the same thing. We need, I think there's a place for vision and dreams, because it pulls us forward and it allows us to do things and to create plans and to be inspired and to have the energy and momentum to move towards something that we believe in and are passionate about. I think there's something very compelling about a vision and seeing ourselves in that place. If Cecile hadn't seen herself in Jeffreys Bay, that wouldn't have happened. She wouldn't have put the things in place to make it happen. But it's also that balancing with holding it lightly, you know, that we, yes, things aren't always going to work out the way we planned. But you make a plan around that too. You know, I come from Zimbabwe. If there's anything Zimbabweans do well, and that is they constantly adapt, make a plan. Okay, this is not working, we do something else. And so that's, I just see that you hold both, you hold the dream, but not so tightly that if it doesn't work out exactly how you planned, that life has fallen apart. No, life is still wonderful and good, and you keep going from there. So I don't know if we can wait for Trevor. I think we...
But if I can just jump onto the back of that, I think this COVID, especially from my perspective, getting us onto these type of virtual conferencing, I think this is the hottest platform ever. I already see people that are tired of this thing. Man, I haven't even begun because I was waiting for this 30 odd years ago and couldn't find anyone to help me with this. And now it's here at our fingertips. But you said we adapt. I think what we've got to do now is adapt big time. So you can work with the way that you used to work and adapt in small ways and go off on these little runs and a little journey and a little travel, but have one or two things that are big objectives, just in case they come off. Because that's where there's a lot of fun. And so that's why I'm loving what's on the go right now. When Lee, you turned around and said, no, you don't want to move your house and home. And precisely, we don't want, you just have that roof over your head, make certain that you're nice and secure, you've got somewhere to go back, and then you can springboard from there. But get your some big visionary objectives that you can actually work to, and then simplify the amount of work. And if I can add into that, sorry, Lee, I'm going to talk the hind leg of a donkey here. Jasper asked me to give a few business bites every morning. So this morning I shared with them what I shared on Friday at the chamber. Most of us, when we develop business plans, if you're a traditionalist and you work through what bankers and funders and venture capitalists want, they want a 40, 50, 60 page business plan, mapping out everything from your blooming staplers to your pencils to the number of staff and all that you've got involved, your mission, vision, all of this stuff. Get it all done. But then reduce it to a half-page document of about 3 or 4 paragraphs long. That is your simplification, your 1, 2, 3 objectives. Know that you've got all the stuff in the background that you can go to and go and review and see what you can change, but come down to your 1, 2, 3. Okay, what am I doing today? What am I doing today? What am I doing today that's keeping me on track? 1, 2, 3 with my big priorities. So and I think that's what's driven me all the time. And I know that what we've all done here together, we're about to springboard and push each other. And by the way, in something like this, when you express what it is that you want to achieve, other people turn around and say, hey, you know what? I want to back you on this thing. I want to be part of where you're going, because I know that you've expressed where you want to go, so this is how we're going to do it. And we hold our feet to the fire on that way, or in that way.
Thanks, Trevor, because I think that's really what it is about as well, isn't it? Is when you say it out loud, you are committing to it, and you are making, and then you also allow others to connect with it. And it brings to mind Nozipo's question when she was talking about vision. I think it was on Friday. She said, there's no difficulty for her in having a vision. What she finds difficult is getting other people to be drawn into that vision, because big visions are seldom or almost never possible just on your own. So that's my question for tomorrow, is how do we draw other people into our vision? Is there something we need to do, or how do we do that? That this vision that is captured and drawn other people into it. I had a fascinating conversation with a bright young woman who joined SAP, and I never thought that it would be exciting for somebody, and this is my own blinkers, I'll be honest, that it would be exciting for somebody to join a huge corporate software development company. But SAP positioned themselves as launching into Africa and changing the face of Africa for the better. And she bought into that vision. That's why she could have gone many, many different places because of her talent. And she chose SAP because of their vision. And so I'm just wondering, so that's the question I'd like us to think about tomorrow, is how do you draw other people into your vision? And I'm excited to hear, because I know there's some people who have already done that and doing that. So it'll be good to hear from you. So I am now going to go and walk on the beach, just to remind you, this is where I am. And I'm also signing off. So I've set the agenda for tomorrow, but Ivan will be back and I'm going to take a 10-day break, and I will see you back on, I think it's the 2nd of November. So enjoy, everybody. I look forward to listening to all the recordings of all the chats when I come back. But in the meantime, I'm having some holiday time. Bye, everyone.
Enjoy, Lee. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you. Thank you.